Officially. So good morning to all. Today we gonna discuss a very important protocol which is called MQTT. The full form of the MQTT is that message queue telemetry transport. Now you can see in this diagram, actually this MQTT follow something called publisher subscriber model, right? So you can see in this diagram there is something called a publisher, there is something called a broker, and there is something called a subscriber, right? So this MQTT follows publish subscriber model rather than request response model, which was followed by HTTP and COAP. So that's how the MQTTs differ. So there is a notion of broker, there is a notion of publisher, there is a notion of subscriber. I will explain you each one of it. So MQTT aims at connecting embedded devices and networks with applications and the middleware. It is an optimal connection protocol for machine to machine communication. That's very important, right? Device to device communication. MQTT is suitable for resource constrained. What I mean by resource constraint is your memory is limited, your power is limited, your computational power is limited, right? And most of the time devices are operated by battery. Devices that use unreliable or low bandwidth links. That's very important. You have a very low bandwidth link. For example, if you think of a standard like 802.15.4 or a BLE, that is Bluetooth Low Energy, the data rate is very low and the links are unreliable. Unreliable means link can make an error. So while you are transferring the data, there are chances that you are transferring a 0 may get converted into 1. So it is actually related to a BER, which is called bit error rate of the link, right? So link are unreliable. It's not reliable like optical fiber. So MQTT is suitable for resource content devices that use unreliable or low bandwidth links. That's a very important, and I already said it follows the published subscriber model, and there is a notion of the broker. We will be talking about each. Broker, see, this is very important. Broker achieves security by checking authorization of the publishers and the subscriber. So that's how the security part is taken care. Applications such as healthcare monitoring, energy meter, and Facebook notification utilizes MQTT. So this is very important, and you already know how Facebook notification is working, right? And it uses the MQTT protocol. This is the header format that you can have, and this is what the payload that you can have in the MQTT, right? Similar to the COAP. So basically, let's look at the message type in MQTT. So you can have a connect, you can have a publish, you can have a subscribe. Duplicate messages that may receive by the receiver, that will be indicated by duplicate, and there is something called a retain, which inform the server to retain the last received published message, right? Don't worry about this part, we will be getting few questions to make it very clear, right? So we will be just coming to that point. So that's a basic about. Now this is very important question that you have, and once you have an answer for this question, believe me, your publisher, subscriber, and broker part get very clear. So the question that we have in front of us is, what happens to published messages? So when a client publishes a message on a topic, see, in this case you don't have a URL, but you have a topic, right? So what I mean by topic is, for example, let's say my topic could be let's say topic could be a temperature, right? Topic could be a temperature, right? It could be a light, right? There are many topics like this you can have. So what we are saying is, when a client publishes a message on a topic, then the broker will distribute that message to any connected clients that have subscribed to that topic. That means that there is a notion of a publisher who can create a topic, and there are clients who can subscribe to the topics. So let's say there is one publisher who has created a topic, let's say temperature. Then there could be many clients who have subscribed to that, and so whosoever clients have subscribed to the topic, they will receive the message, right? But all the messages get transferred via broker. That means you can understand that there is no direct communication between the publisher and the subscriber, right? All they are connected via the broker. Broker is the centralized entity, right? Once the message has been sent to those clients, it is removed from the broker. Broker will not do storage of those messages. It just get it from the publisher and forward it and then remove it. If no clients have subscribed to the topic, let's say there is a question, somebody is publishing but there is no subscriber, what happens? If no clients have subscribed to the topic or they are not currently connected, then the message is removed from the broker. In general, the broker does not store messages. This is very important note. Retained messages, persistent connections, and quality of service levels can result in messages being stored on the server, right? We will look at that, what we mean by this quality of service. Actually, there are 3 levels of quality of service supported by MQTT. I will explain you that also. So MQTT uses TCP IP to connect to the broker. Right now, please understand, I already explained to you, COAP uses UDP as a transport layer protocol, whereas MQTT uses TCP as a transport layer protocol. And you already know TCP is a connection oriented protocol, right, with error correction and guarantees that packets are received in order. So that is the responsibility of the TCP actually, and that is the benefit passed to the MQTT. Now, however, that does not mean that the message can't be lost, right? Message can be lost, but it get retransmitted whenever it is required. Now, as far as the QoS is concerned, let's look at this. Networks are unreliable, right? And MQTT lets you select from 3 quality of service levels depending on your requirement. Your requirement means based on your applications. You can select the 3 one of the level out of 3 quality of service level available. If your application can tolerate lost, that means lost is not a big concern, or missing messages, then you can choose the lowest level of the quality of service, and that is the 0. 0 is the lowest level. Otherwise, you will need to use the quality of service level 1. Quality of service level 1 says that your message will be delivered at least once, or quality of service level 2, which says that the message will be delivered at most once, right? The higher the quality of service level, the more message overhead is involved. See, nothing is free in this world. So the price to be paid is you have more overhead. And please understand, overhead always reduce the throughput of the system, efficiency of the system, right? So we have a 3 level of quality of service. Now these are the very common question, as I said, which will make a very clear idea about the publisher and subscriber. So the question number 1 is, what happens to the messages that get published to topics that no one subscribed to? I already answered that question. They are discarded by the broker. Second question is, how can I find out what topics have been published? For example, you may have a question like, in web services there was a discovery mechanism. You can discover what kind of service is available, right? Now, how can I find out what topics have been published? So that's not possible. You can't do this easily, as the broker does not seems to keep a list of published topic, as they are not permanent. That means there has to be some communication between the subscriber and the publishers, so that subscriber should know what topics are available, right? You cannot do a discovery from the broker. The next question is, can I subscribe to a topic that no one is publishing to? The answer is yes, you can. So let's say right now probably nobody is publishing on that topic, but in future if somebody is publishing, you will start getting the notification messages. Are messages stored on the broker? You already know the answer. Yes, but only temporarily. Once they have been sent to all subscribers, they are then discarded, right? Now the last question is very important. What are the retained messages? What are the retained messages on the broker? That is the question. The answer is, when you publish a message, you can have a broker store the last published message. This is very important, last published message. This message will be the first message that new subscribers see when they subscribe to the topic. See, for example, let's say there is a topic called temperature, and there are 10 subscribers. And this temperature topic may be publishing a room temperature of a specific place every, let's say, 10 seconds. So already 10 clients or 10 subscribers are already getting a message. Now a new subscriber will come. What message he will get? He will get the last message. So that's what we are trying to say. This message will be the first message that the new subscribers see when they subscribe to that topic. MQTT only retain one message, right? Only the last message it will retain. This is how it works. You can see, instead of a device sending the message to or getting them from another device directly, the client, that is publisher, sends the message to the post office, that is a broker. You can see here in this diagram, it's like a broker, and then it is forwarded to everyone who needs the message, to the subscriber. So let's say a publisher is publishing a message, and then this broker will pass the message to every client who is interested, right? So this is the diagrammatic representation, how the broker is working, how the publisher and the subscriber. Now see, publisher, you don't require to refer. Publisher means it is a server and subscriber may be a client, right? A subscriber could also serve as a publisher for some topic, and for some topic it might be a subscriber, like that, right? So you can see here MQTT uses a subject line called topic instead of the addresses, that everyone who needs a copy of that message subscribe to that topic. This is an example, right? So for example, you can have a broker, you can have a topic, and you can have a message, right? And based on this string, actually you can subscribe to the specific topic and you can get the message. The broker handles all devices by using topics to manage the messages. A topic is a simple string that can have more hierarchy levels which are separated by a slash. Topics are case sensitive. Please understand, topics are case sensitive. That means the topic lamp in the home office is not equivalent to this LAMP, because LAR capital. These two topics are different. They are case sensitive, right? Please understand that. So for example, let's say there is a topic called home office lamp, right? And a device, what it can do, it can publish a message on or off, and based on that a client can subscribe, and probably it can do the on and off to the light, right? Based on from this client, right? So that's how we can use the MQTT for home automation, office automation, and lot many application in healthcare domain. New devices can be easily added without touching the existing infrastructure, right? Since the new device only communicate with the broker, they do not need to be compatible with the other devices. See, please understand, this is very important. One client could be from one manufacturer, another client could be from another manufacturer. Still, they are compatible to the communication. For a communication, the reason is that they are communicating via broker. That's a very important thing, right? So you must try to look at that part. The IoT devices are interconnected via the broker. There is no direct connection between the client and the broker, right? Clients and the client. That's what I mean by there is no direct connection between M to M, right? They are connected via broker only. So broker relays the messages between the client, not restricted to one-to-one model. That it could be one to many, many to one. Both the way it's possible. It is possible to have many devices subscribe to the same topic, which can realize one-to-many model. A many-to-many model, multiple devices can be publishing the same topic and have one or multiple subscriber, right? So you can see here, this might be a publishing client publishing a specific topic, let's say topic X, but it might be subscribed to topic Y and Z, right? So that's quite possible. So there could be one to many, many to many, all kind of combinations are possible. MQTT provides you the bidirectional communication. What I mean by that is where each client can both produce and consume the data by publishing messages and subscribing to the topics. The big advantage of this two-way communication is that, this is very important, the IoT device can send sensor data and at the same time receive the configuration information and control the command. So you know, for example, let's say I want to pass some control message to the device. That is possible, and at the same time that sensor is also sending a data, let's say temperature. So that's possible, right? So that is very important of having a communication in both the direction. This is very important feature which is supported by the MQTT. Right, I already said 3 level of quality of service. Just to brief you in more detail, there are 3 level of quality of service. 0 is called fire and forget, which is unreliable. So if this is the requirement from your application, you go with QoS level 0, fire and forget. Message is delivered without duplication, no acknowledgement is required. Quality of service level 1, at least once, reliable. Message is delivered at least once with possible duplication, because you are saying at least once. That means there are chances that message may get delivered multiple times, right? Acknowledgement is required because it is reliable. And highest level of QoS, that is 2, it deliver your message exactly once, right? So there is no duplication. The message is delivered without duplication. That's very important. So there are 3 level of QoS. As you increase in the QoS level, your payload get increased, your header size get grows, right? That means there is much overhead, right? This is how the publisher broker handshaking will take place. Just look at this diagram, very important. MQTT is a TCP IP based protocol where a TCP connection needs to be established prior to transferring the data. So what publisher will do with the broker is, first it will establish the connection. You know how to establish the connection. The first one is you send SYN, then you get SYN plus ACK and then ACK. So this is your connection establishment phase. Then MQTT connection and data publishing will happen. You can say some connect command, acknowledgement, connect acknowledgement, publish message, disconnect request, and then again you have to terminate the connection. So this 2 part which has been indicated over here, this 2 part, this is the part number 2 and this is the part number 1. These 2 are the business of the TCP and this is the business of the MQTT, right? So you can see the protocol hierarchy. At application layer you have MQTT, at transport layer you have TCP, and at network layer you have a IP, right? These are the advantages of the MQTT. Eliminates the vulnerable and insecure connection. The reason is you need to provide only the security at the broker, right? Easily scales from a single device to thousands. You can add as many devices as you want. Manages client connect states including credentials, security and certificates. Reduce the network strain on tenuous networks such as cellular or satellite, where you have a lot of constraint in terms of bandwidth, the RTT or round trip time, link error characteristic is very high. I mean beat error rate is very high. Still MQTT perform very well. That's a benefit of the MQTT, right? The security mechanisms are configured on the MQTT broker. That's very important. And then clients will need to comply with the security requirements. The capabilities of the MQTT client should be taken into account when planning and implementing security measures on the broker, because broker might be a very high-end device. See, what you mean by broker is I can configure my Raspberry Pi board, right? Raspberry Pi board also as a broker. Even your normal computer can work as a broker. Even you can configure Arduino board as a broker, right? But when you are implementing some security mechanism on that broker, you need to check whether those end devices are capable to handle those security mechanism or not, right? That's a very important. The central broker in the MQTT architecture increase the security by decoupling the devices and application. That's very important. It does the decoupling because publisher subscriber cannot do direct communication. All devices has to authenticate against a centralized security location, that is the broker, and only one port is required to be open on the broker, that is the 8883. This is the port number which MQTT uses. Like HTTP uses 80, right? Secured version of HTTP uses 443. Similarly, 8883 is used by MQTT. MQTT provides the security using transport layer security, encryption, and username password protected connections. Each client is unaware of IP addresses and domains of the other devices. This is very important. This is how you can do client identification. So there are 3 ways. One is the client IDs, another one is the username and password, and you can have a concept of the client certificates also, right? There are MQTT broker actually. This is very important, right? So you may have a free and open source MQTT broker. I will show you some examples. For example, Google Cloud IoT Core supports the MQTT protocol by running a managed broker that listens to the port on this, right? Note that port 8883 is the standard TCP port reserved for secure MQTT connections, right? This is very important. So this port number is really important for you. So if you are dealing with some security aspect, and when you are looking that this port is open, actually you can understand that MQTT has been configured there, right? This is a very famous open source brokers available, right? The first one is the Mosquitto. You can look at that web portal, right? It's a most popular and lightweight open source broker written in C programming language, right? This is the default broker for edge network. So for example, you are building some, let's say you are building some IoT application, for example, let's say IoT application for home automation, and you need a broker. You really don't require to develop, you can use directly this. The another example is, this is written in C. Another example is Mosca. It is based on Node.js, right? And it is again in open source server environment and not very feature rich when compared to Mosquitto. Mosquitto is very famous and there are many features available. Very simple broker and ideal for small home network deployments. It is installed as a Node-RED node and then added to a flow. Node-RED is a flow-based development tool for visual programming developed originally by IBM, right? Then the next one is the EMQTTD, right? It is an open source and highly scalable broker written in Erlang programming language, right? But I recommend, this is the most famous and you must explore, Mosquitto, right? How MQTT achieve the reliability. So the broker is the central point of communication between all the devices. Now you know, when we have a central device in a place, the biggest drawback is that if that central device goes down, everything come down, right? So it's a problem is single source of failure. That's a problem. Now to increase the reliability of the communication, most broker software and clients supports automatic handover to a backup redundant broker if the primary server fails. So you may have a mirror image. I mean the mirroring of that broker actually, right? See, please understand, this broker is not something a physical entity. What you have is, it is some machine that you have, some computer that you have. It could be a gateway like Raspberry Pi board or a Arduino board also, and there is a software configuration, right? And that's what it makes the broker, right? The software can also be set up to share the load of the client across the multiple server on the site, in the cloud, or a combination of both. So that's how you can achieve the reliability, right? As I said, friends, there is a notion of the certificates for a client. So in MQTT, the network load is reduced by having the client send data only when there is a change in the value. This is very important. So you are not pushing the data every time. Whenever there is a change in the value, then and then you push the data. The broker retains the published messages and send them out to new subscribing clients. The MQTT brokers can be aware of the state of their clients and communicate that state to other clients using birth and death certificate, and that last will and testament, that is called LWT feature. This is very important, last will and testament, which is called LWT feature, right? So MQTT clients can register an LWT messages to be sent by the broker if any they disconnect, right? So this is what is the usage of that. You can have a status certificates, like you want to see the presence, right? So for example, let's say you want to see whether the clients are online or not, right? Publishing client is online or not, or when the client went offline, right? And what was the last known value. I think this is already you are checking on the WhatsApp. For example, you go to the WhatsApp and see somebody last seen, right? So for example, you want to make call somebody at night, let's say after 10:30 to a faculty member, you will see a WhatsApp message, right? Whether he or she is online or not, and probably you will try to ping him or her, and then you can communicate, right? So that's how we will be using this kind of things, right? There is a YouTube video. I will be sharing that presentation. You can watch that video also. But these are the few classical example or case studies that I want to show you. So I hope you are able to see this. Probably I will be showing a demo. I already have, but today we don't have that enough time. But I will be showing you. So this is very important. See, this is one of the case study. I wish all of you to look at this link. Let me paste this link in the Q&A, and I wish all of you to explore this link. Right, you got one link in the Q&A. I wish all of you to study this. This is really a important link, powering the real food revolution with IoT, MQTT and Heroku, an interview with Fright Farms. This is a very important blog that you should refer. Right, how MQTT has changed many things. This is an important use case that you must study. I have already pasted the link in the Q&A section. Please browse it. Right, this is the another example, Hive MQ. Right, we will I will show you this GNU IoT demo maybe in the next session, not right now. But this is also an important thing, Hive MQ, you can explore. Right, another use case that you should look at is this. Right, let me again paste it in the Q&A, and I wish all of you to explore this link. Right, second link. I hope you are getting the link. Right, this is a very important thing that he has explained here. Right, and how MQTT is working, what was their planning, how they have used it. Right, try to explore it. This is a Mosquitto website that I already said, mosquitto.org. You please try to refer that site. Right, there is an application called OnTracks. For example, you can download it to your Android phone. The reviews are not really good. When you watch the review, probably you get demotivated. But still, if you want to try, or where they are using an MQTT, and what this OnTrack application will do basically is it will keep sending your location to maybe, let's say, for example, one of my friend has visited Pakistan before a couple of years. So when he has visited, he kept some friends in the group with whom he keep sharing his location. The way we can do in the Google Map, right? So there is an app where they are using an MQTT protocol just to optimize. This has given, MQTT.org. This is really a great site. I wish all of you to explore, where it shows the lot of case studies, right, use cases. So please try to explore this all. Right, this is really important, mqtt.org. Last link that I have shared with all of you, mqtt.org, use cases. It shows the use cases in every domain. Right, so if you open that link, let me do that. Right, if you open that link, it will show you the use cases in every domain, like automotive, logistic, manufacturing, smart home, oil and gas, consumer products, transportation. Right, so that's a very important. Why I'm telling you all these things, you will come to know what is an importance of the MQTT in the context of the IoT, and why it has been given so much tracing. Right, so please try to look at that part. Let me go back to my presentation. Right, so these are the very important use cases that you have. So this is all about MQTT, guys. Let's look at the next protocol, right, which is called an XMPP. The full form of the XMPP is that Extensible Messaging and Presence Protocol. In the next session, I will be showing you a demo of MQTT, where we will work on a small kind of chat application. So if I will make a common topic, you can all keep publishing the messages on that, and you can see the live messages are happening. So if you want to create a small chat application, it's very easy, right? So XMPP, it's Extensible Messaging and Presence Protocol. It supports an open, secure, spam-free and decentralized messaging protocol. It is utilized for multi-party chatting, voice and video calling, XMPP connects a client to server using a stream of XML stanza, right? So this is another protocol that you should explore. I'm not going in much detail. XML stanza represent a piece of code. This is very, let's say you have to define what is an XML stanza, and that is what is explained here. It represents a piece of code that is divided into three components. What are those three components? Message, presence, and IQ. What is message? It identifies the source and destination address types. What is presence? It shows and notifies the customers of the status update authorized. And what is IQ? It pairs the message and sender and receiver, right? The next protocol that you have, this is the last protocol that we have in this chain. So we have looked at the COAP, MQTT, XMPP, and this is the last one, which is called AMQP. Now AMQP stands for Advanced Message Queuing Protocol. It supports reliable communication via message delivery guarantee primitive, including at most once. That you already we have already discussed this part in the MQTT. At least once and exactly once delivery. So again, it supports three level of quality of service, right? It requires a reliable transport protocol like TCP. So you can see that AMQP is also uses the TCP the way MQTT uses the TCP also, right? MQP implementations are able to interoperate with each other, right? Again, it is a publisher subscriber based protocol, right? Exchanges are used to route the messages to appropriate queues. Routing between exchanges and message queue is based on some predefined rules and conditions, right? So there are different queues, and each queue is handling a different kind of topics. That's what they are trying to say. Message can be stored in message queues and then to send to the receiver, right? This is it defines a layer of the messages on top of its transport layer. You can see this is how it looks like, right? Types of messages like bare messages and annotated messages. So this is all about the AMQP, right? Now this slide will show the comparison of the MQTT, AMQP, HTTP, and COAP. If you have any concern, any doubt, any question, let me know. Any question that you have, let me know.